in my mind at least. Okay, so yesterday we were supposed to do the around the room thing. Most people have, let's just back up to the beginning. I get it's the week before spring break. I'm not typing in zeros until Friday. What you worked on last Friday that most have already turned in is this bubble worksheet. That's why it says Friday's worksheet. So have you turned this in? If not, that's one thing I'm looking for. I type in the zeros on Friday. The second thing it says is scavenger hunt. That was posted around the room yesterday. I'm going to steal yours for a second. It says math lib at the top. Have you done it? 2 people turned it in. I'm sure many others almost have it done. That's another thing I'm looking for. Also due by Friday. The third thing, which you could have picked up on Friday, I doubt you did though since I have so many of them, so I'm going to go ahead and pass them out, is this factoring polynomials worksheet. If you have it, when I pass it out, tell me so I don't waste my copies. I want to look at it really fast and discuss a couple things on it before. You need one more? Okay. Is there a reason how we would go to it? I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. I told third period the same thing I'm going to tell you. It's like your IQ level continues to drop as we get closer and closer to spring break. I'm going to have to deal with it and learn to deal. Learn to deal.
Where's IQ?
Your intelligence level. Okay, there is a reason you've been handed this one. Again, just like the factoring polynomials, it's just like the puzzle. It has answer choices at the bottom, which is nice. I'm handing you this one for a reason. Let's look at number 1, for instance. What's the first thing we could do on number 1?
Ask your question.
What is the question?
The
GCF. Okay. So there is an actual GCF we can pull out of number 1 because they both have at least 4 and probably even a 12 in common. So there's something we can pull out.
Correct.
Okay, if I pull out the 12, what would I be left with? Oh man, so I didn't even GCF correctly, did I? There was more I could have pulled out, isn't there? What should I have pulled out? 12x. And then I would have been left with x minus 3. And you can find the answer choice down at the bottom. It's answer choice H. I know there are some that are cut off down at the bottom. And let me get out my regular key to see what those are supposed to be. If I even know. It might just be a mystery to us all, honestly. Nope, I do know. So, what's cut off at the bottom? I'll have to pull it out from under the sheet, first of all. The hole punch happening to D and E. So if you want to write down D is supposed to be this, and E is supposed to be that. Again, your hole punch is cutting those two off if you want to correct that now. If you don't correct it, then it'll just be a mystery. Okay, the whole point in this worksheet is not just to waste more time, because I think you're getting better and better at factoring. I understand that. The whole point is, again, to ask ourselves, is there a GCF first? Because some of us, on the checkpoint specifically, I purposely put a GCF problem on there, and very few people remember to plot the GCF first if it was possible. Okay, I still see people writing. Does anyone still need this?
No. There.
Okay. So, for instance, number 8, let's see if there's anything we can pull out of number 8. Is there a GCF we can pull out of number 8? So if I pull out a 2, I'm left with a 4x squared plus x minus 3. Am I done? I might be, I don't know. But hopefully I can factor it. And since the leading coefficient's not 1, I'm going to have to use my ninja star. So there's potential where you have to do GCF and factor, or GCF and ninja star, GCF and something else. So there's a reason for this worksheet. Now what's supposed to happen, and I did it wrong last period and I need to fix it now. Let's go back to, we had solved number 1, we had pulled out, why am I doing it on like 5 different pieces of paper? Good grief, it's coming. Okay, on number 1 we got 12x, x minus 3, that was answer choice H. So we should, in this picture, wherever we see an H, draw what was in box 1. So box 1 just had like the line to the left, so every H needs the line to the left. Now, do I really care if Maggie gets whatever mystery picture is down here on the right?
No.
No. I mean, good for her. I don't know what it is. Good for her if she figures it out. I'm really looking to see Maggie's work. And again, just more practice problems to make sure she's checking the GCF first. Okay, so if we're reading that list again on the board, because it hasn't changed. Well, it has changed. But the first 3 things are still there. Friday's worksheet we discussed. Scavenger hunt, you know about. Puzzle is now for sure in your hand. Okay, so I need to put these in the thing. So we need to discuss the ball ringer, and we also need to discuss what's written on the list in light blue, because it says partner 6% category projects. Again, let me say my words from last time. As long as Ashantia has all his stuff in my hands by Friday, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. But if for some reason Ashantia can only pick one thing, because it's just that kind of a week, he would want to pick the thing that says it's in the 60% category. The other stuff ends up being, I think I did the scavenger hunt in the 30 because we did use my class time. I did Friday's worksheet, I think, in the 10. I don't know. You never know if it's 10 or 30 with me. It's not much. But the 60% one is about to be passed to you in just a moment. Let me get my life together. We haven't been giving the project yet. We're about to be handing it. Okay, so the good news is there is no test this week.
Oh, yeah.
Although tomorrow I do want to do a checkpoint when there's not a leading coefficient of 1. And I have an extra checkpoint if you're wanting to do another one with a leading coefficient of 1 just to make sure everything's cool in line. If you don't want to take that one, don't worry. I'm sure I'll pull it back out after spring break. After spring break, when we return, after that much needed rest your brain apparently needs, when we return, we're going to be back on factoring. So eventually there will be a test on factoring. It's just not happening in the next few days. Okay, let's discuss the bell ringer and then we'll look at your project. On the bell ringer, I gave you the distance formula. If you can't plug stuff into a formula, we have a problem. When you plug stuff in, what did you end up getting? You didn't do it.
Oh, it's 136.
Okay, when you plugged it in, thank God someone can do math today. So 8 minus 6 squared for x2 minus x1, and 12, I did that wrong.
It's okay, I did that first.
It's 12 minus 6 squared. x2 minus x1 squared, and then 8 minus a negative 2. You would think since we've had the same bell ringers in geometry and algebra that I would be able to do this by now. Okay, 6 squared, 8 minus a negative 2 ends up being a 10 squared. She is correct in some ways. I did get square root of 136. And if this was geometry, specifically my regular geometry, I might let it go here. I might. But this is not. This is pre-AP Algebra 1. This is the kind of thing we just tested on. I can reduce this. Does anyone know a perfect square that goes into 136?
13, right?
13 is not a perfect square.
No.
Oh, never mind.
5. No. Yeah, no.
Like 16 would be a good one, but 16 doesn't divide you a perfect square. 10's not a perfect square. Wow. Like 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36 perfect squares. 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Those kind of perfect squares.
No. 80.
No.
9.
Shut up.
Why do people keep saying silly numbers that aren't perfect squares?
I'm not
4 times what is please end my misery? 4 times what? 4 times 34 is 136. 34 can't break down any. It's 17 and 2. Those are both prime. So it ends up being square root of 4, square root of 34. I know the square root of 4, it's 2. So it's 2 square roots of 34. You're really making me question our radicals test now. Especially those weird numbers you were shouting out for perfect squares.
I said 4, Miss Thompson.
Along with a lot of other things. Okay, are there any questions on this? Other than why is my 3 so ugly?
It's up.
Wait, what's the
Hey,
bonus
I
idea?
did math, so I'm good.
Thompson.
I know my perfect
Thompson.
squares. What?
Oh my god. What is that beside -6?
An 8? Well, I don't know what you're asking.
No, like all the way up. You see all the
12. It's a 12. I just plugged stuff in. I plugged in the numbers given. It was a 12. Because I plugged in chugged. I've got to move on now for my own sanity. Okay, so today I'm also additionally going to hand you something else that is due on Friday. And let's look at it now together. This may or may not be the one you're handed. I don't know. It depends on who you are. So your options are you can get approval from me and work by yourself, or you can work with a partner. You can work with a partner. It says that you and your partner will create 3 trinomials that match the base trinomial you are given. For instance, if you're given this base trinomial, that means we need leading coefficients of 1 and both the B and C positive. So if Jameson tells me 4x squared plus whatever, he's already wrong because his leading coefficient is supposed to be 1. And then if he had x squared minus 3x, he's already wrong. His B and C are both supposed to be positive. He needs to have something like x squared plus 7x plus 10. Or x squared plus 4x plus 20. He needs to follow whatever form his base trinomial is. It is handed to you. Different people will have different ones. You will factor each trinomial on a piece of paper first before putting it on your poster. I'm going to need the work. Your poster will need to be in the wanted poster fashion. You know when it's like a person's face and they're wanted? If you're not sure, you can Google a wanted ad to figure out what it should look like. It says poster. If you want to borrow a poster board from me, that's fine. Most of mine are very colorful, so if you're wanting white, you probably want to get your own. At least the following should be on the poster. Again, this is a 60% category grade, so I'm going to check these 4 things. When Riley's missing one of these, she's missing a chunk of points. Okay, I need to know what the trinomial is wanted for. It can be something silly, like you could pick an unfactorable one, or you could say it's wanted for being too cool. I don't know. If it was mathy, I would probably give you bonus. As we're about to read, the more creative you are, the better your score in that area will be. So you know the math teacher would like for the trinomial to be wanted for some sort of math reason. Okay, the correct properties of your trinomial. Again, meaning Jameson picked correctly, but he also explains himself. Like, since I have a positive C and a positive B, my factors must both be positive. You could look back at your notes for that. We used to have specific rules, like if it was a positive C and a negative B, that meant that the larger factor had to be negative. We spent both factors had to be negative. We spent time discussing what factors need to be negative and why. It would be on your notes if you've forgotten. Then it says you must have your 3 trinomials in their factored forms. Your work showing how you factored them. The more creative you are, the better your score in that area will be. You cannot, this would be the main thing that is going to annoy me. I can already anticipate it because your mind is on spring break. You cannot use examples from your notes. It cannot be one that I have worked. If I've worked it, it's off limits. It cannot be one that I have done. They must be original. If you think that I don't know what problems I've worked, you are wrong. I keep my notes every day just like you. Do not test me on this one. If you're needing to find them, a suggestion is Google, of course, but I also have a handy-dandy textbook, and most of us took ours home, so most of us do too. Google has answers. The textbook has answers. Or, that handy-dandy brain you were given, you might come up with some that were creative. Again, the more creative you are, the better your score in that area will be. I would be super impressed to see fractions or decimals or something that we've not done before. That would impress me. Okay, are there any questions about this? Again, I'm going to put this in the 60% category. So let's talk about things that you could not do. You could not do it at all, and then I'm typing in the 0 on Friday. You could only do 1 trinomial. You could not meet the 4 criteria listed. You could not be original. But really, I'm trying to give Kennedy a nice grade booster. She's going to do it. She's going to do it well. She's going to be creative with it. She's going to try to get bonus out of me. That's what she's going to do because she's being motivated. But those of us who are already on spring break and have already tuned me out, bless your hearts, it's going to be a rough week. Okay, again, those 4 things have to be in my hands. You've turned it in when you leave me on Friday. Once you've left the room on Friday, I have every reason to type in the 0. When I come back from spring break, if you try to hand me any of those 4 things, I'm going to laugh at you. I'm going to laugh. I don't want those 4 things after spring break. I want them at the end of this week. Again, besides, I'm telling you that we're going to do a fast checkpoint tomorrow. Besides the checkpoint tomorrow, this is all I have planned, is letting you work on those 4 things. I'll be glad to help you, but my gosh, you've got to get your 4 things done. If you are motivated, and there are some in the room who are, and you can get everything done like we want, on Friday, if everything's done, we can play like a Kahoot and a couple other games and get prizes out of Miss Compton. Because I have honey buns and oatmeal cream pies and stuff. But if it's only 2 of us who have it done, well, only those 2 get to play. Because you can't get to play games if you don't have your regular work done. That seems insane. Okay, are there any questions about